We make social experiences on the Roblox platform and recently updated our name and our branding to align with our focused vision for 2025 and beyond. My name's Adam, I'm the director, so let me run you through the changes. Welcome to Last Level Studios. In one sentence, we want to make innovative social experiences for the Metaverse. For now, that means Roblox because it's just the perfect launchpad for any kind of multiplayer experience, and you've got a huge audience to tap into. It also helps that Roblox's vision for the Metaverse aligns pretty well with our own. Imagine you want to catch up with a relative, a distant partner, or really anybody that you're not co-located with. We often jump to a 2D video call like FaceTime or Discord and just talk at one another for a bit. It's kind of boring. And if you're in your pajamas or you're having a bad hair day, maybe you won't even want your camera on at all. It's not a very good analog for actually being there and having that in-person contact. It's cold, it's disconnected, and sometimes it's kind of awkward. Now imagine that you were meeting in person. You probably go to a coffee shop or maybe arrange an activity like bowling or mini golf, or you go to the cinema, watch a movie, and then chat about it afterwards. I think it's safe to assume that you wouldn't just stand there face-to-face in one spot talking for an hour and then walk away. You'd be doing something, there'd be some sort of activity, shared activity that breaks the ice, gives you something to talk about and lets you get to know each other and have fun. So the Metaverse as a concept is really just trying to replicate that, but in a virtual world. It's not intended to replace in-person contact, but rather improve the remote connection that currently is phone calls, video calls, and maybe online games if you're both into it. The future that I see is, say you've not seen your mum for a while and you can't be there in person. You invite her to a virtual cafe and you have a drink, maybe head over to a virtual museum to explore together, watch your favourite virtual theatre show, maybe even do some virtual karaoke to round off the night. And through all of that, you've had a much more interesting and rich connection that bridges the gap between in-person visits in a way that a phone call just couldn't. And you can do all of that from your phone, your tablet, your computer, your games console, your virtual reality headset, all with voice and facial tracking and even video alongside that immersive world that you've both been placed in. That's the vision, that's the future, and we want to help build it. An important step towards that future was the rebranding that we've done to call ourselves Last Level Studios. If you followed us or visited our experiences before 2025, you'll know that we used to be called Bantech Systems, which stems from my own Roblox username, Bantech. I explained the origin of that username in a video stepping down from my role on a previous project to focus my time and my energy on this company. So give that a watch if you're interested in me personally, but ultimately it's a confusing name for the company and the community and doesn't quite match up to the direction that we're aiming in now. We need something that is easy to remember, that is clear and concise, and doesn't cause any confusion locally or internationally. I think Last Level fits these requirements quite well. It's short, it's simple, it's easy to say, and it does tie into classic video games a little bit as well, which is the root of all of this. And a lot of video games have levels of some sort, whether that's story levels or XP levels, and typically the last level is the boss battle. It's the goal that you're aiming for, it's where you piece together all of the skills and techniques that you've learned so far. Often, once you've completed that last level, everything's unlocked. You're free to explore. You're no longer bound by the video game's story arc. And I think that has great symbolism for the Metaverse too. We aren't sticking to classic video games. Roblox and the Metaverse is much more than that. And unlocking this relatively untapped potential of the technology is our collective last level. It's the boss battle that we're applying our skills to. Along with that name, we needed some nice, clean, modern branding that was bold and also versatile, won't conflict or clash with all of the various experiences we have planned. And our graphic designer, Seb, did a great job of pulling that all together. And we now have a logo that we can be proud of and we can display everywhere without having to explain that we're not banning tech. So we've got our mission, we've got a name and a brand that allows us to get there. So now it's time to put in the work. 2025 is the year that we really plan to take Last Level from relatively unknown to a key contributor to the Metaverse. First up, the lanes. This is an experience in and around a 10-pin bowling alley that we released back in 2021. It took a back burner for a little while Stepford County Railway and other projects took up a lot of our time, but 2025 is the year that we take the lanes from a bit of a small experiment and turn it into a full flagship social experience. We've already started work on it, but we're recoding the experience from the ground up to incorporate everything we've learned from the first version to make it easier to expand, easier to add new games and functionality, as well as debug any issues that we come across. If all goes well, I'm hoping Roblox will feature the experience as part of our shared vision for the metaverse. The success of the lanes will empower us to grow and work on more projects. Beyond the Blox is a podcast that we ran for 2 seasons so far, and the original premise was to create a podcast aimed at Roblox creators, featuring inspiring guests and discussing some of the developer-oriented features that Roblox was rolling out. That worked well, and we've had some questions about if it'll come back. Well, it's on the list, and we've already been brainstorming exactly how it might look and how it might feel. I want this to be a reboot of the format, with a visual-first podcast on YouTube and Spotify in a way that's more sustainable than the previous model. Guest-based podcasts are a huge overhead to source the guests and arrange the schedule. It makes for quite an irregular season that has episodes that are hard to predict. Our new vision for the podcast is more of a Roblox news roundup, really, both official updates and whatever's trending in the community, wrapped up in a neat, short episode. That enables it to be frequent on a regular schedule, aimed at a wider audience of anyone who uses Roblox. Instead of special guests, I'm on the lookout for some co-hosts so that we still get some nice conversation and different perspectives. If that's something that you'd be interested in, or you know someone else who would be, then contact us on social media or drop a comment on this video. Finally, the third and possibly most important goal is company growth. It's sort of the why to the other goals how. Essentially, we need the company to grow in both revenue and skills to enable more projects that serve our mission. Right now, we're all part-time on a low salary, and it would be impossible for any of us to be full-time right now. There just isn't the revenue there to support it. I'm hoping by the end of June 2025, so halfway through the year, we have the equivalent of 1 full-time employee. So kind of if you stuck together my time and the contractors and other part-time employees' time, if you combine all that together, that should be about 40 hours. By the end of the year, I'm expecting that to be 2 full-time employees, so 80 hours a week being spent on last level studios. I think that's achievable, especially when you look at the great number of users we've seen on the lanes, even with the lack of attention that we've been giving it. And we also have good interest from people on our other projects and our other ideas. I don't want to be too optimistic. It is hard to grow this while we all have other jobs and other commitments. So I've balanced my optimism with a little bit of realism. And that's it. Those are our goals. That's our mission. I hope you'll stick around for it all. We'll be posting more on our social media and our community servers as we make progress. So be sure to follow, subscribe, join on whatever platforms are best for you. And we'll see you there.